Hello, everybody. I'm Ralph Vacchiano, SNY's NFL Insider, here with our draft analyst, Tony Pauline, also with draftanalyst.com. And we're talking about the New York Jets and specifically some later round needs for them. We know they have the 6th pick in the draft. We kind of know what will be waiting for them there, but they have needs that they may not be able to fulfill. For example, pass rusher is something they're probably not going to get unless they trade down in the first round. Let's assume they don't. Can they get a good pass rusher on day 2 or 3?
Hopefully. I mean, how many years have the Jets been looking for a pass rusher? But I believe so. I mean, round 2, you're looking at a guy like Carl Lawson out of Auburn, a guy who's tremendous out of a three-point stance at Auburn, fast off the edge, very disruptive the past 2 years, projects to outside linebacker in a 3-4, which is what the Jets play, but a guy who I think can be relentless up the field, needs some work making plays, moving in reverse, but I think if Carl Lawson will be there, he will be a consideration in round 2. Rivers from Youngstown State, a 1AA school now known as the FCS, a guy who, again, played mostly defensive end in college, but was a relentless pass rusher, very disruptive force. A guy who, when he went to the Senior Bowl and he was asked to rush the passer standing up over tackle, did a terrific job. I know the Jets like him. They were out at his pro day. They've met with him a couple of times. He's a guy who I think if you draft him in the 3rd round, he comes in as a rookie as a situational pass rusher and then eventually develops into a 3-down player.
Now, the Jets are going to be in a similar crunch at tight end where probably not going to be their pick at number 6, and O.J. Howard, I guess, is an outside possibility, but still a need if you assume that their new offensive coordinator, John Morton, is going to remember that the tight end can be a factor in his offense. So what if you look at day 2, day 3, what are some of the tight ends that they should be looking at?
You know, 2 guys to remember, Jordan Leggett out of Clemson, 6'6", 260 pounds, not much of a blocker, but was one of Deshaun Watson's favorite targets, a guy who made big plays from the line of scrimmage. They used to run go routes, and he would get 20, 30 yards down the field, create those mismatches, and catch the ball. He's a tremendous pass catcher, not much of a blocker. He's a 3rd-round target. If you're looking for more of a 3-down guy, Michael Roberts out of Toledo, 6'6", goes just under 270 pounds, plays fast, caught the ball well at Toledo. He's a dominant blocker, did very well in the run-up to the draft, was good at the Shrine Game, was also good at the Senior Bowl. Not as fast as many of the playmaking tight ends that we see in this year's draft, but a guy who's very good 10 to 15 yards off the line of scrimmage, and on those 3rd and 2 situations, those goal line situations, when you want to bring him in as a blocker, he can dominate.
Another position that they're going to be looking at, 2 positions actually, cornerback and safety. There's a good chance that with the 6th pick, they'll be able to address one of them, but not both of them, which means they're going to be looking for more secondary help later in the draft. Who are some of the guys that they might be looking at there?
There'll be a ton of cornerbacks. One guy to remember is Fabian Moreau of UCLA, a player who was supposed to go early 2nd round, potentially late 1st round, tore his pectoral muscle during the UCLA Pro Day, is going to fall a little bit. Now, he could go late 2nd round, but if he falls to the Jets in 3rd round, it's a torn pec. He's supposed to be ready by August. The Jets could be getting 1st-round talent in the 3rd round. So Fabian Moreau, if he's there for the Jets in the 3rd round, even if they got to trade up a few selections to get him, that would be a great value. Cordia Tankersley out of Clemson, another Clemson player, a guy who really didn't have a good senior year as many projected. Coming into the season, scouts thought of him as a 1st-round pick. His play kind of fell off, but again, if you get him back on track, you take him in the 3rd round. Here's a guy who can play nickel, could play dime, could eventually develop into a starter. The Jets need all 3 positions in the defensive backfield.
And finally, of course, when you talk about the Jets, you cannot avoid the quarterback question, which has hovered over them for decades. A lot of the speculation has been about them taking a quarterback in the 1st round, but let's assume that they don't, and they still aren't sure that Christian Hackenberg, their 2nd-round pick from last year, is the answer. Is there another 2nd rounder, a 3rd or 4th rounder they might consider to come in and compete for the job?
Only 2 guys you're talking about in the 2nd round. Davis Webb out of University of Cal. He's a Texas Tech transfer, lost the job to Patrick Mahomes. He's tall, he's got a big arm, had a sensational senior year, did well at the Senior Bowl. He can make all the passes, a little bit erratic with his fundamentals, sometimes erratic with his accuracy, but he's got great size, great pocket passer status. He has to learn to play in an NFL system because he played in wide open systems in the college system. The other intriguing guy would be DeShone Kizer of Notre Dame. He's got the physical skills. He's a guy who didn't have a good junior season. Some people questioned why he entered the draft. Kind of parallels Christian Hackenberg, but he's got the underlying tools to work with. So if you're patient with him, you could have a very good starter and a real value in round 2 with him.
Tony, great stuff. Thank you very much. And thank you all for watching. Make sure you stay tuned to SNY and to SNY.TV for all of our NFL draft coverage.